In the moments when we are gathered with those who are attuned with ears, we are projecting forward not only our thoughts through one who has agreed to become as a speaker to parlay the vibration of our thoughts into words of understanding for your ears, but it is as well that we are projecting forth a form of energy, as you would know it upon your world, that is given to each, not in equal measure, however. Each who are gathered have varying degrees of achievement, and have therefore varying degrees of that which is necessary and needed for attunement within. In our moments today, with the attention of your ears, we are speaking upon issues that affect all in equal measure. The discourse of today is that of being in a form of symbiosis with that which has always been. There is first in your arsenal, if you would not object to this term, that which is known as will. You are each possessing of individual and highly defined wills, and yet on a greater level you are part and parcel of that which could be called greater will. Within the world of humanity there are millions of those who are tuned to individual will. They are able to give their will to a cause, a belief, a performance, a perspective, all as they deem fit. It is, however, not as random as it might appear. Each of you, as you know yourselves when you check into the mirror at the beginning of each day, are tuning at every moment your individual will, and we say to you that this may be your greatest foe or your greatest ally. In the course of the larger river you are as but pebbles, and that which you see as your own individual will is indeed inviolate to our world. Elaboration upon this point is needed, and so we say this. We are not given to changing your will, for we cannot. It is directive that we may work only with that which you have in your will decided should be within your experience. While there cannot be coercion towards humanity for the changing of their will, it is not untoward for our world to offer to you glimpses of that which the will is predominantly creating for you. In an example of this, we would say that the man whose will it is to drive with regard of no other vehicle would be readily shown the end result of that will. However, in most matters emanating from within humanity, there are no such aspects that are clearly defined in such a manner. However, it is the job of those within our world to offer to you those things that may guide, that may nudge, and may act as weights upon your scales to help you with figuring out which way the will should be aligned. While we may not create despite your will, we are those who are meant to help with aligning the will of the individual to that of their greater will. The greater will resides well within our world. In the process of each individual human will and their choices lay the governing of that which they experience. It does not often seem so to the untrained and unobservant eye, but it is indeed an infinite truth. However, the greater will, that which you would call the soul aspect, is aligned in an even further symbiotic relationship with that of the whole, or the whole will. When the various channels of will are aligned, there is an intense flow of that which is intended. It is signified by the life of ease, the life of greater portion, the life of further understanding. It is rare that the soul aspect would be out of line with the whole. While it is indeed a case in some instances, it is not the case in most, and so we point out to you that it is far more often that of the individual will that has created the clog and the damming, and for this we wish to eradicate for you the misunderstanding that while the will of the human is inviolate from our world, it is not something that cannot be altered. We have often worked through the life of our speaker here in ways of cognizance not even known to her, to align that which is of our greater will so that she has come to the point of least resistance to that which is of her soul's aspect and which is of our fullest intent for her. Each of you within this room may well remember a time when there were events or incidents, things given which were able to create within you a desire to create a change within your will. Consider each of these as a pack, as an accommodation from that which is your own higher wisdom. Were it simply a matter of the soul forcibly creating the change of the will of the human, there would not be within your world the depths of contrast that are seen. It is therefore to be the understanding that many forms of the contrast within your world of those things not perceived as wanted by an individual is, at its cause, created through the defining by human will of one who is in battle with that of highest source. We speak now of that which is created when there is resistance of little value from the highest to the lowest expression of energy. We do not mean that those of you who are focused within humanity are truly of a lower nature, for you are in reality the focal point. You are the edge of the laser beam that is of the greater whole. But we use a term to denote the feeling of lesser. For each of you who see a self within a mirror, within your world, this is how you have predominantly defined oneself, as that which you see. It is in reality that you are beyond and greater than this, but yet it is the decisions that are made by that which you see in the mirror that begin or end the flow from the greater whole. It is our intention in our time with those who will listen to make it easier for the connection to be widened, for it to become vastly powerful, and to allow those who are struggling with issues of will to understand that while the battle may seem ongoing, that it is but merely a process of relaxation. The man who is given to deciding that he must drive beyond the limits of speed that are set by his society had made the conscious choice to do so, for he had chosen to leave his home at a time not appropriate to allow him functioning within the set parameters of time, and yet achieve what he has desired, such as getting to work on time. It is simply a matter of his understanding that were he to relax into his inner promptings, that he would have been guided to have arisen earlier, to have time not be his enemy, and to allow that which is his will to have effect upon the wills of the others who are indeed sharing the same space upon the road as he. This is but a small analogy of the battles that are waged on the individual level, and again we say if there were less of the struggle through the human will, there would be greater flow from the higher, the mightier, the more powerful will, and in this would be correction, not only of the speeders upon your roadways, but those who battle their wills against the wills of the others, who choose not to see your world in the same light. Each of you have varying needs to maintain or to establish the connection of a greater force. We offer to you again not only words, but we are aligning and accessing what is needed for each. In the times that you see the sheath known as you in the mirrors that hang within your homes, do realize that to a greater extent that you are fighting with self within many of your chosen decisions. Should it be your choice to stand aside, metaphorically speaking, in a process of allowing not the human but the soul to take the wheel, your journey would be shortened, it would be smooth. It would be as with safety features not even placed yet in the thoughts of your car's designers. Trying to run your world through the narrow focus of the human perspective is indeed a mighty challenge. If it is laid to the wayside and trust and faith and assuredness are given, there is another with a greater perspective who would be honored to be given control.